because they'd need it to start fresh in South America. He'd tell them to say goodbye to no one. Secrecy was essential, he'd explain. We can't risk the Nazis finding out. Then he'd sit them down and inject them with what he called vaccines required for travel to Argentina. The injections were lethal. Within minutes, his victims would be dead on his floor. Petiot would pocket their valuables, drag their bodies to the basement, and burn them in a custom-built furnace. He'd been a doctor long enough to know that fire destroys evidence, and nobody was going to miss people who were supposed to be fleeing to another continent anyway. It was, in a twisted way, the perfect crime. This went on for years. Petiot was killing people faster than the Nazis were deporting them, and nobody suspected a thing. Why would they? He was a doctor. He was helping people escape. The guy was a hero. Until March 1944. That's when neighbors started complaining about thick black smoke pouring out of the chimney at 21 Rue Le Sieur. And the smell. This horrible, horrible smell that wouldn't go away. Police forced their way into the townhouse and went down to the basement. What they found there would haunt them forever. 27 dismembered bodies, some still partially intact, others reduced to piles of bones and ash. A pit filled with quicklime. Suitcases stuffed with clothing that would never be worn again. And Dr. Marcel Petiot? Nowhere to be found. For months, Petiot was on the run. And here's where it gets really crazy. When he was finally captured, Petiot had the absolute audacity to claim that every single one of his victims had been Nazi collaborators. He said he'd been working for the resistance the whole time, executing traitors to France. He presented himself not as a murderer, but as a war hero who deserved a medal. The jury didn't buy it. Petiot was convicted of 26 murders, though investigators believed the real number was closer to 60. He was sentenced to death by guillotine. On May 25, 1946, Marcel Petiot walked to his execution with a smirk on his face. According to witnesses, he showed no fear whatsoever. When the blade dropped, it severed the head of a man who had turned human desperation into a business model. He'd charged people for the privilege of being murdered. Number 3. Joseph Mengele, the Angel of Death. It's Auschwitz-Birkenau, May 1943. A train pulls into the camp carrying hundreds of prisoners from across occupied Europe. They've been packed into cattle cars for days with no food, no water, barely enough air to breathe. The doors finally slide open, and SS guards immediately start screaming at everyone to get out and form lines. After days in darkness, the prisoners stumble into the light, disoriented, terrified, not knowing what's about to happen. At the end of the platform stands a young SS officer in an immaculate uniform.